This morning, America's First News starts right after this. As a small business owner, you need protection for your physical and financial assets. From general and professional liability insurance to business owners and commercial auto policies, Geico can help. Go to GeicoCommercial.com for your free quote and see how much you could save today.
From Compass Media Networks, this is America's First News. This morning, with your host, Gordon Deal.
No choice. Good morning, I'm Gordon Deal. Along with Jennifer Kashenka, it is Tuesday, October 1. Thanks for being with us, and here's what we have for you this hour.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the upper chamber would have no choice but to hold a trial if the House votes to impeach President Trump.
A congressman from upstate New York has resigned abruptly. He's expected to plead guilty today to insider trading.
As parts of Montana dig out from 4 feet of September snow, the Southeast could set records for October heat.
And the push for a strict new gun law in Florida.
This is an effort to get an initiative on the ballot in 2020. It would be a proposed constitutional amendment. And what it would do is ban the sale of semi-automatic rifles, AR-15 style rifles, which have been used in many of the mass shootings that we've seen in recent years.
Wall Street Journal reporter Ariane Campo Flores on the race to get signatures for a gun control ballot initiative in Florida. That story in about 25 minutes. Several new pieces of information have emerged regarding President Trump's phone call to Ukraine's president, in which he discussed political rival Joe Biden. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was among the administration officials who listened in on the call, putting that department closer to the impeachment inquiry. Meanwhile, the president continues to push back.
The call was perfect. When the whistleblower reported it, he made it sound terrible. And then you had Adam Schiff, who, even worse, made up my words.
Also yesterday, House committees subpoenaed Mr. Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, for documents related to his communications about Ukraine. Regarding calls, Attorney General William Barr has asked Mr. Trump to make introductions to a number of foreign officials he believes may have information relevant to the Justice Department's review of the origins of the Russia investigation. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the Senate would have no choice but to hold a trial on whether to remove President Trump from office if the House votes to put forward articles of impeachment. Mr. McConnell appeared yesterday on CNBC saying the obligation to hold the trial is part of Senate rules and that it would take a 2/3 vote of that chamber to change that.
I would have no choice but to take it up, based on a Senate rule on impeachment.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced an impeachment inquiry last week over whether Mr. Trump improperly pressured Ukraine to investigate his political rival, Joe Biden. The president has denied exerting any pressure or doing anything improper. It would take a simple majority of the House, by the way, to submit articles of impeachment to the Senate. Once in the Senate, at least 67 votes would be needed to convict Mr. Trump and remove him from office. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court would preside over that trial. Here to break down the story of the phone call a little more is Brian Boyd, a professional intelligence analyst with 30-plus years' experience. He worked for the Departments of Justice, Treasury, and Defense. Brian, what about reports the whistleblower is CIA?
I know lots of people in that business, and I have a lot of people say they're with the CIA. Then you find out they're contract employees. They're not employees. A lot of people say it, a lot of people claim it, but from what I've been doing and learning about this particular event, there's no reason any intelligence officer would be present in the room with a call from the president or anyone else. The only person that might be there is his national security advisor or his various secretaries. There's no reason for any intelligence officers, particularly a senior, would be in the room for any reason. And so I'm concluding that this is all hearsay, and there is no direct knowledge. And you and I both know if you're in a courtroom, somebody makes an accusation against you, hearsay is inadmissible.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's jumping on something that I read the transcript. Did you read the transcript?
Yep.
I'm thinking, okay, why is everybody all over the thing? They don't even read the facts of the matter. So I think it's way out of context.
Do you think that this person perhaps was a plant of some kind?
I don't think it was a plant, because there are a lot of people that are assigned as liaison to the White House, which is a bigger building than just a physical facility. There's the EOB. But these people are all in there, and they're liaison officers. But they're down the hallway. It'd be like listening down the hallway to something you heard up the hallway through 4 filters, 4, hearsay. So even if the guy was just there on assignment, he doesn't have any direct access. And from what I conclude is it's a lot of people putting together an agenda. And if you read how it's written, it looks like a plot that it was a prepared script. Doesn't read like anything I've ever seen on whistleblowing or even internal affairs when somebody says something.
We're speaking with Brian Boyd, professional intelligence analyst, talking about the Ukraine story. He's a Green Beret, 30-plus years as an analyst, also served in the Departments of Defense, Justice, and Treasury. Did you encounter this type of thing during your time, say, in Defense or with Justice or the Treasury?
I've been in enough agencies where I've seen whistleblowers come forward. There's a lot of events that occurred in a lot of the past events. You can talk about Waco, you can talk about 9/11, you can talk about past historical events where somebody is a whistleblower. In the counterterrorism business, after a major event occurs, we pull together what's called a hot wash. You bring all the people together, and they don't have to have any regard for rank. A private can talk to a general face-to-face, and you vent them, because everybody has an opinion as to why a mission either failed or succeeded. But if you don't do that in the professional setting where everybody can vent openly without recrimination, then it's going to wind up in the Washington Post next day because people get upset and angry. So a whistleblowing process is a good process. I don't find this one to be even credible from the get-go, because I don't know anybody who even have that kind of access at that level. So it had to be a hearsay third party at the best. And to me, that doesn't make, it's not even credible.
Yeah.
Just because it says CIA does not make them CIA. I mean, that's a huge bureaucracy. Yeah. You can't keep 500,000 employees in the CIA to say the same thing, can you? I guess my professional opinion is I'm kind of embarrassed, having been an employee of these agencies, to see this kind of behavior at the highest levels. It's an embarrassment to me, because I used to be proud of the different agencies I worked for. I didn't work for the FBI or the CIA directly, but just listening to this is an embarrassment to the professionals that are still there. Their leaders at that level are just, it's incredible that they would compromise their principles. And where was the old biz about FBI fidelity, and integrity? It bothers me, because you'd think we'd have better moral standards. I'm not talking about religious. I'm talking about moral standards of behavior.
Thanks, Brian. That is Brian Boyd, professional intelligence analyst. 14 minutes now after the hour on This Morning, America's First News. Your favorite Netflix show gets canceled before the second season. You draw last pick in your fantasy football draft. You're roused from sleep by the construction outside your window the one day you can sleep in. We can't change those things, but Clearbank is changing one unfair thing: how hard it is to get fundraising as an entrepreneur. They know it's scary to put your house up as collateral for a bank loan, and how scary and time-consuming it can be pitching investors, not to mention giving up pieces of your company if the investor likes it. Clearbank believes that fundraising can be easy. Clearbank has created a new way for founders to raise money without tapping into their personal resources. They can fund you anywhere from $10,000 to $10 million in a single day. All you need to do is fill out their 20-minute term sheet to get started. Clearbank works with e-commerce companies, SaaS companies, and yes, mobile apps too. They funded thousands of entrepreneurs and are on track to invest over $1 billion this year. As a special gift to our listeners, qualifying companies that get approved by Clearbank will get $1,000 of additional capital. To sign up, visit clearbank.com/Gordon. That's clearbanc.com/Gordon. Clearbank. Stop pitching and get back to doing what you love, growing your business. Hey, welcome into Tuesday. Glad you could join us. A congressman from upstate New York has resigned ahead of his expected guilty plea to charges related to an insider trading case involving his son and an Australian biotechnology company. Chris Collins, a Republican who has represented the Buffalo area, announced yesterday that he was stepping down immediately. More from this morning's Mike Gavin.
Prosecutors have accused Mr. Collins of passing a confidential tip to his son so he could sell shares in the biotechnology company before the disclosure of a failed drug trial. The case against him is tied to his position on the board of directors of Innate Immunotherapeutics. Prosecutors said Mr. Collins gave private information about a multiple sclerosis drug to his son Cameron so that Cameron and others could sell the stock before the results were announced, saving $750,000 in losses. Gordon.
Thanks, Mike. According to another court filing, Mr. Collins' two co-defendants, his son and another man, are expected to plead guilty Thursday afternoon. The other man is Stephen Zarski, the father of a woman that the younger Mr. Collins was engaged to. This portion of the program is brought to you by Harry's. Humans have been shaving for 5,000 years. People never needed complicated tools before, and neither do you now. That's why with Harry's razors, there are no gimmicks. They just focus on a close, comfortable shave. What I love about shaving with Harry's razors is the weighted handle. It never slips out of your hand, and the razors feel so smooth on your skin. Plus, there's a separate blade for sideburns and goatees. It's just $2 a blade. They're made in Germany, and if you don't like them, send them back for a full refund. Plus, 1% of all sales go to organizations that provide essential mental health care for men. Right now, Harry's has an amazing offer for listeners of our show. New customers get $5 off a trial set from Harry's with the code DEAL at harrys.com. That means you get a 5-blade razor, a weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for just $3. Plus, there's free shipping when you use the code DEAL at harrys.com. That's HARRYS.com. 3 generations of Harry's users in my house. My dad, my son, and me. Go to harrys.com today and use the code DEAL at checkout to claim your offer. It's 20 minutes after the hour on This Morning. Jennifer Kashenka is here with more of America's First News.
Word in the circle of administration officials with the knowledge of President Trump's phone call to Ukraine is widening. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo listened in on the July 25th conversation in which Trump tried to get Ukraine's president to investigate political rival Joe Biden's family. Pompeo's presence on the call provides the first confirmation that a cabinet official heard Trump press Ukraine's president to investigate Hunter Biden's membership on the board of a Ukrainian gas company. Trump says House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff has misrepresented what was said on the call.
The reason is when he saw my call to the president of Ukraine, it was so good that he couldn't quote from it because there was nothing done wrong. It was perfect.
Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia says the whistleblower's identity needs to be protected.
That's why I'm also calling on Director of National Intelligence, Admiral McGuire, to publicly state that he will protect his people.
Meanwhile, Democrats have subpoenaed Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal lawyer, about his involvement with Ukraine's government. Defying the NCAA, California's governor has signed a first-in-the-nation law that will let college athletes hire agents and make money from endorsements. The move could upend amateur sports in the U.S. and trigger a legal challenge. NBA star LeBron James says it's only fair.
Me and my mom, we didn't have anything. We wouldn't have been able to benefit at all from it. And the university would have been able to capitalize on everything.
Under the law, which takes effect in 2023, students at public and private universities in the state will be allowed to sign deals with sneaker companies, soft drink makers, or other advertisers and profit from their names and likenesses. While summer-like heat roasts most of the South, our attention is already turning to flu season and the need for flu shots. But those seasonal shots could be a thing of the past if Duke researchers have their way. The university has been granted $400 million from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases to overhaul the vaccine. It's all part of a national drive to develop a longer-lasting, more broadly protective vaccine to replace the seasonal flu shot.
Wow. Thank you, Jen. It is 22 minutes now after the hour on This Morning, America's First News. Glad you're with us. Welcome into Tuesday. Scammers, as you know, steal billions from older Americans each year. What's more, large numbers of older people are unaware of some of the common scams that swindlers use on them. Katie Hill at Market Watch is here to identify some of them. Katie, what's up here?
A lot of older people are unaware of even the most common scams, and that's your first line of defense to even know about some of these scams. And frankly, I was reading about some of these, and I thought, oh wow, I hadn't heard of that either. So some of these common scams are really unknown, kind of.
All right, so go through a couple of these. Start with the invoice scam.
Right. So this is when a victim is contacted by someone claiming to work on behalf of a company, and like your utility company, they're pretending like they're from your